Hello, this is the Unit 2 test, Introduction to Nonfiction. So if you look, question number 1 is going to be a matching question. You are going to match the nonfiction text feature to its definition. So you have text features on the side and they may appear differently on your test because they sometimes put them out of order. So you might not see the same definitions that I do. So I'm going to read all of the definitions for you, but just know that some of them might be in a different order for you. So we have captions, glossary, title, table of contents, and bold print. So you have to match which text feature goes with which definition. So the first one says this text feature is an alphabetical list of words with the definitions for these words. It usually appears at the end of a book and includes words which are newly introduced. So then you would choose whichever you think the text feature is, number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. The second one says this text feature gives the name of the text. It gives the reader an idea of what will be read in the book. The next one says, this text feature shows words underneath or beside photographs, illustrations, or charts explaining what it is or what it's about. The next one, this text feature are words that are heavier and darker than the rest of the words in the text. It can be used to show which words can be found in the glossary. And the final one says, this text feature is a list that shows the major chapters and parts of the book as well as the page numbers. So you can pause this video and answer this question now. Make sure you click save when you're finished and move on to question number 2. Question number 2 says, what is the difference between fiction and nonfiction text? Magical or unrealistic things sometimes happen to the characters in nonfiction. Nonfiction texts give factual information. The setting is sometimes made up in nonfiction. So you can pause and do question number 2. Question number 3 says, review the detail. He looked more like a diplomat with his tidy white shirt buttoned at the throat and his hair slicked back. If you had happened to sit by him in a restaurant, you would have thought he was a bit odd. Tesla always ate as though he were at a formal dinner, with each cup and plate in its place. He had been afraid of germs since he was a boy, and he used stacks of napkins, preferably 18, a number divisible by 3. What do these details reveal about the author's attitude towards Nikola Tesla? Tesla was an odd man. Tesla enjoyed eating dinner with other scientists. Tesla was a boring man. Question number 4. Read the paragraph. Tesla wasn't the only inventor staying up all night. Before the discoveries of the late 1800s, people still depended on oil lamps and steam engines. Dozens of inventors throughout the world were racing to be the first to create a dependable light bulb, send power from one city to another, and transmit messages without wires. It was a tangled and disorderly process, with each inventor building on the discoveries of others. What does the word disorderly mean in the above paragraph? A peaceful process, organized and neat, having no set rules or structure. Question number 5. Read the detail. Edison was the opposite of Tesla in almost every way, and they soon came to dislike each other. What was one difference between Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla? Tesla didn't care about making money off his inventions, while Edison was a good businessman. Tesla didn't work hard and wasn't determined, while Edison was hardworking. Tesla was a scientist, while Edison was not. So you're looking for a difference between them. Question 6. What is the central idea of a nonfiction text? The events that take place in a story. The point that the author wants you to remember the most about the text. When and where a story takes place. So what is the central idea? Question number 7. Read the paragraph. After 3 years of medical school, Daniel Hale Williams graduated. He was now a full-fledged doctor. Although he had been the only African-American student in his class, he hadn't experienced prejudice while in medical school. When he began looking for a job, however, he ran into problems. No Chicago City hospital would accept an African-American doctor on its staff. So Dr. Williams decided to open his own practice. He continued to improve his surgical skills and learned better ways to reduce the risks of infection. What was the central idea of this paragraph about Daniel Hale Williams? Despite facing racial injustice, Daniel Hale Williams was determined to become a successful doctor. Daniel Hale Williams graduated from medical school and was not a full-fledged doctor. Daniel Hale Williams learned better ways to reduce the risks of infection. Question 8. Read the paragraph. Dr. Williams was known to keep the area where he did surgery spotless. Whether it was in his office or in a patient's home, he often scrubbed the walls, floor, and ceilings of an operating area himself to kill as many germs as possible. As a result, hardly any of his patients got infections. Which detail from the paragraph would support the following main idea? Daniel Hale Williams was known for his cleanliness. Dr. Williams decided to open his own practice. Dr. Williams would travel to his patients' homes to help them if they were too sick to come into his office. Dr. Williams often scrubbed the walls, floor, and ceilings of an operating area himself to kill as many germs as possible. Question number 9. Which best compares Nikola Tesla and Marie Curie? Both Tesla and Curie were scientists who worked with electricity. Both Tesla and Curie were hard workers and didn't care about making money off of their inventions. Both Tesla and Curie didn't get married or have a family because they didn't want to be distracted from their work. Question number 10. Question number 10. Read the passage. No one knew how difficult the task would be, but Marie, although still a student, had already shown that she possessed the most important quality of a successful scientist. When it came to the search for knowledge, she never gave up. Based on the passage, which identifies the most logical conclusion one could draw about the author of Marie Curie and the discovery of radioactivity? The author also works in science. The author thinks highly of Marie Curie. The author is part of Curie's family. Question 11. Read the following details. In the winter, it was so cold that Curie emptied her closet, piling the clothes on her bed so she'd be warm enough to sleep. Sometimes she had no money to buy even an egg or a loaf of bread. But then, how could she take the time to stop studying long enough to cook? What was the author's purpose of including the above details? To make readers dislike Marie Curie? To show that all scientists are poor? To show how committed Curie was to science? Question 12 is matching. You're going to match the type of clause to its definition. So one of these is an independent clause and the other is a dependent clause. So the first one says it does not express a complete thought. It must be connected to an independent clause. This one says it expresses a complete thought. It can stand on its own as a sentence. Question 13. Which part of the sentence is the dependent clause? As the lights dim, the people in the crowd stopped talking. So you're looking for the dependent clause. As the lights dim, or the people in the crowd stopped talking. Question 14. Which part of the sentence is the dependent clause? No matter how you look at it, your homework has to be done. No matter how you look at it, or your homework has to be done. Question 15. Which is the independent clause in the sentence? Harry had the chance to run in a relay race, which he decided not to do. Harry had the chance to run in a relay race, or which he decided not to do. And finally, which is the dependent clause? Megan loves to shop. When the parent arrives, she is smart. Okay, make sure you save all your responses and go to submit quiz when you're finished.